What's going on, Saints fans and who that's from all over the world? This is Kyle T. Mosley with the Saints News Radio Network, and welcome to our first part of the Saints regular season final report. We're going to have a 3-part series this week, next week, and the following week. We're going to kind of wrap things up, headed into the draft, and also talking about what teams may be headed into the Super Bowl. But I have on with me tonight the professor from The Professor Speaks, Derek Stevens. What's going on, D? Can't hear you, D. You sound real far away, my brother. Nope. Nope. Well, no. Let's see if we can get the professor to get his mic up and running. Okay. Well, anyway, Saints fans, if we did not know by now, the New Orleans Saints have put another 7-9 season in the books. And it's not a good thing that we have the Saints at 7-9 for the third straight season under Sean Payton. It's another year that Drew Brees had a outstanding year as far as his yardage production, his fifth 5,000-yard season as a New Orleans Saint player. But not only that, it is Drew Brees' record-setting year that he has had again. But there were some ups and downs to Drew's season as well. So let's see. Professor, are you back? Barely. Let me see if I could do something to tweak the system for you, Professor. Hold on. Let me do this. I'm going to call you back from the other line, okay? All right, we're going to get the professor in shortly. Hold on one second, guys. Thank you for being patient with us tonight. Okay.
You have been muted. To unmute yourself, press the star key twice.
Testing.
Mute off. Goodbye.
Okay. We always seem to have a little problems here and there, but that's all right. That's okay. We're going to make it happen anyway. All right. But anyway, as I was saying, guys, we are hoping that the New Orleans Saints can be able to make some more improvements for the 2017 season. Drew Brees, as usual, did an outstanding job. Cam Jordan had a pretty good year as well. And we also are looking at some guys who ended their seasons prematurely, such as Delvin Breaux, never really became fully himself after his injury. Professor, is that you? Hello, Professor? Hello? Hello. So, Delvin Breaux as well as Kenny Vaccaro. We know Kenny had to serve his suspension, his 4-game suspension, so he wasn't with the rest of the squad toward the end of the season. We had 2 of those young guys that were going to make a impression in the cornerback in the defensive backfield, Swan as well as Williams. Both of those guys were injured again the second year in a row. So hopefully we can have some of these young men make a significant contribution without the injuries. But, that's a part of the game. Injuries will always be a part of the game. All right, Professor?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, can you hear you good? Okay. All right, let's start it over. Saints fans, this is Kyle T. Mosley of Saints News Radio, and I'm here with the professor from the Professor Speaks, Derek Stevens. And D, I was just telling the audience a little bit that we just need to kind of stay the course here. Saints have finished for the 3rd straight season 7-9 under Sean Payton, and as well as Drew Brees leading the New Orleans Saints. Drew had another 5,000-yard season. I think this is his 5th in as many of 8 years being a New Orleans Saint, but, out of his 10 years. But, if we look at what has really transpired with Drew, as well as New Orleans Saints fans, a lot of people are kind of worried because of the speculation that Sean Payton may depart from the Saints and head to greener pastures. The number 1 targeted, I will say, NFL team that may be of interest to him will be the LA Rams. But you also have a couple other really good situations like the Denver Broncos, as well as the San Francisco 49ers are out there as well. But Denver brings a different kind of element, and I wouldn't put it past John Elway for making a play for Sean Payton, especially since Denver has the best defensive situation, as well as they still have some great tools and resources on the offensive side, where it would make sense to bring in a more seasoned guy like Drew Brees, who could possibly lead that team, So we don't know what could possibly happen with Brees as well as Sean Payton. Brees stated earlier this week that he intends to play out his contract, and we know they only extended him throughout the 2017 season. Professor, that sounds like a guy that is pretty much saying, we'll wait and see how this is going to transpire. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't put nothing past. People doing what's best for, themselves. So, the NFL has made it totally clear, the owners, that it's a business. So I can see Coach Payton as well as Drew saying, well, it's a business for us also. And I think that's part of the problem with the NFL now. There's no loyalty. There's no loyalty because now everybody's about their own brand name and making money for themselves. And while there used to be a time where 53 players and the coach and everybody were a huge family for real, I don't think that's how the NFL is operating anymore. Nothing would surprise me if Coach Payton left and tried to negotiate something with Drew. To be quite honest, I think he's made one brief statement, but if he's staying, he needs to put this, this suspect or innuendos or whatever you want to call it, he needs to put this cat to sleep and say, I'm staying here. If he, his agent, or whoever let out the leaks and started this rumor, that I don't think is a rumor. I think that, it's something that's got, once again, people can't keep their big mouth closed. that it sneaks out, and I don't like the disrespect that he's given the loyal fans of my hometown, New Orleans. That's where my problem is. Be a man, I'm staying, or be a man, I'm leaving. It's simple as that. Okay, now if at some point Drew is going to have to leave, and if he wants to go with Coach Payton, then, we thank you and let Drew go too and start this all over. Because at some point you're going to have to. Now, maybe next year could be the last year and you give it one last run and see what happens, But at some point, to the audience, you're going to have to face the fact life one day will not be with Drew Brees nor Coach Sean Payton in the Superdome or on the sidelines and wearing the fleur-de-lis helmet. So I've already, honestly, how this. I've been removed myself because I've got to see and experience something I thought that would never happen with the Saints winning the Super Bowl. So I'm very grateful and thankful to Coach Payton and Drew Brees, and not just Drew Brees and Coach Payton. That's another thing I want to make clear. The entire New Orleans Saints team from the Super Bowl of 2009, 2010. They seem to forget that Tracy Porter made a huge
two
of that.
Yeah.
They seem to forget that defense shut Peyton Manning down to only 7 points for 3 quarters. Drew Brees did not win the Super Bowl by himself, nor Coach Payton. It was a team effort, and one of the things that I feel that has become very bad in New Orleans, yes, I said it bad, we have made Drew Brees into an idol. A team is 53 players, not taking anything away from Drew and Coach Payton. But Drew Brees did not win the Super Bowl by himself. It took Lance Moore to make that 2-point conversion. Those 34 passes he completed, it took, Colston and Meacham and Devery Henderson, and different players, Pierre and Lionel Hampton.
Shockey,
and Jeremy Shockey.
Yeah.
Drew Brees does not throw the ball and catch the ball, people. Let's give credit to the entire 53. Let's give credit for Garrett Hawley for executing the onside kick. Let's give credit to special teams for recovering. And that game, after the slow start in the first quarter, all 4 units came together and played collectively as one team and won that Super Bowl. So I'm very grateful and thankful, and I know that there's going to be, just like there had to be life after Archie Manning, just like there had to be life after the Dome Patrol, just like there had to be life after Aaron Brooks and after winning the first Saints playoff game, Ricky Williams. There's going to have to be life after Coach Payton and Drew Brees. Now, if Coach Payton can turn things around, that would be great next year. If they can make one more run, that would be great, fantastic. If they want to stay and they can turn this around from 7-9, 4 out of the last 5 years, then stay. But if you can't get the execution and bring back the team to winning to where it needs to be, you're going to have to change some things. Or if Drew wants to retire Saints, then Drew stays, and then less throwing and more running. We see what we have in Mark Ingram and Hightower, and even the young Daniel Lesko coming up, filling up the ranks. So, I wouldn't be surprised, Kyle, what happens.
Professor, go ahead. I'm sorry, we lost you. Go ahead.
No, I'm finished. That was it.
Well, I mean, one of the critical points of reevaluating this particular season, and we have to be honest and take some of the emotions out of this whole equation. Okay, 2 seasons of 7-9, I can stomach. This season, I didn't have too much high hopes in the season, but this season surprised me because we had the emergence of a young man like Michael Thomas. And we had the emergence of a really good duo in that backfield. We kind of saw glimpses of it last season, right? But we had Mark Ingram for the majority of the